This is American Dumpster Fire.
For another episode of American Dumpster Fire. I'm Loki.
I'm here.
And Odin.
And I heard that the old dog in office learned a new trick. He learned how to roll over.
I think he always knew that for the right
So,
price.
That motherfucker rolled over for the Turks like nothing, right? He rolled right out of their way, abandoned what would you say, tens of millions of dollars worth of shit, so that the Turks
On
could
the
roll in
the
and just
Turkish-Syria
slaughter
border?
Kurds. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so this is kind of almost a follow-up to what we discussed last week with that momentary ceasefire that ended almost immediately, right? And this kind of came on the tail end of that. We got some intelligence from the Kurds on how to take out that ISIS leader,
El Big Daddy.
as we discussed. And then there was that momentary ceasefire, and then immediately after that, we bailed on the same people who gave us information.
Well, because the ceasefire was bullshit, right?
Mhm.
Ceasefire was bullshit. The premise was bullshit. Everything was bullshit. Trump fucked everybody.
Right, and Trump was in contact with this Turkish leader.
Right.
However, he completely disregarded everything that, Trump mentioned.
But let's face facts. I mean,
And then he immediately rolled over, pulled our troops, and killed over 100
Is this
civilians.
any different than he does
But-
with his business dealings? I mean, there are
Oh, yeah, no,
contractors and all kinds of people that go unpaid, and when they go to sue, he countersues and drags it out through a court.
he's a
there,
fucking
there,
joke.
there are people that have basically equated his business practices to con artistry. I mean, he basically
He
gets.
is a
Waited,
con
he-
artist.
It is con artist.
But I'm
Here's
He's
saying-
the
a con
problem.
artist.
Here's
He's
the
built
problem.
entire hotels with basically paying nothing. He's
And that's
held,
fair enough. But the thing is, he's not ruining his business's reputation right now.
He's getting people
He
killed.
just backstabbed our ally that has fed us information over the course of, all of our wars over there in the Middle East, right?
Yeah. They've helped us.
These
for
people have helped
decades.
us across the board through
Right.
these wars, and now they hate us because we just fucked them over and got
Because
people
our
killed.
piece of shit president
I'm
is
not.
a bitch.
I'm not trying to make light. I'm saying is that this is part and parcel. They were talking about,
Oh,
like
it's nothing we shouldn't come to expect
he's
from
a
it.
businessman. He knows how to run
he
things
doesn't
and
know
everything else.
shit.
But everything that he did in business is the same thing he's doing here. So I mean,
Right, con artistry. Yes.
right? Well,
and running our country into the
friends,
ground.
allies,
Stealing,
not in business,
lying,
not the way he runs
cheating,
things.
Backstabbing,
backstabbing,
betraying,
screwing everybody in his path. Why
burning
anybody
bridges,
still does business with this asshole? I have no fucking idea.
That's why he
ruining
went
our
to Russia.
reputation, embarrassing
Yeah,
us.
seriously.
No,
Yeah.
no. I mean, that's
All he had left to do was sell his integrity. What little
there's
he
a
had.
reason why we haven't seen his tax returns yet.
Well, and in the end, he went to Russia for that, and he bowed to Putin anyway in this deal too, because in the end,
Technically, it looked like he rolled over to Turkey here, but you
But
got to
then if
look
you
at
look-
who it benefited.
right, because Russia rolled right in after we rolled out and split up Syria.
The border. Mm-hmm.
What does it look like? It looks like this was all about oil.
Yeah. Well,
We're
it all
led
is.
to believe that this is about religion. We're led to believe that this is, a bunch of poor people defending their religions, but it isn't. These are big billionaire corporations trying to sell resources and using poor.
Wasn't this why Russia went to Crimea?
Religious
Was it
Well,
about
psychopaths.
I
natural
also
gas or something?
I want to point out that
Yes, this is
that
all about resources.
Trump did this against the advisement of literally everybody. Like people
because
who
he
usually
works for Putin, not us.
people who usually back him were even
Oh yeah, Lindsey
voicing
Graham
What
calling it a
against
shit
this.
show.
These
like against everybody's
people knew.
recommendations. He did this, and the people that it benefited was Russia, Turkey, and ISIS.
These people knew. These people knew who he really worked for, and they keep lying about it. But they know who he
Well,
works for.
sure they know.
And they defend him still. Even still, Jim Jordan from the inside of the SCIF is feeding information directly to the White House. This is true. Okay, Louis Gohmert
Then
exposed.
Jim Jordan should be in jail.
I agree, and so should Louis Gohmert, who exposed the whistleblower who is now getting death threats.
That he should also be in jail.
So these are traitors to our country. The Republican Party is a bunch of fucking traitors, and
They
they should all
are.
be in jail. And I am pissed off because the Democrats aren't holding them responsible for the crimes they're breaking.
And I agree
Well,
completely.
it's one thing
Why
to put
are
party
we
over
rolling
country,
over?
but money over country is even worse.
Yeah, no, these are
It's
scumbags.
a disaster. It is a freaking disaster. These people are legitimate traitors in every sense of the word.
This
like,
is the Republican
going
Party
back
is an
to
insurrection.
the freaking the root of our country. These people are traitors against the U.S. They're traitors against patriotism. They're traitors against everything this country used to
Even
stand
though they
for
started that flag
that it
pin
no
thing.
longer does.
And every last one of the Republicans who still back the Republican Party are marks to a giant con game. Every one of you have been conned into following these assholes who are just screwing you out of every last dime you have.
I wouldn't say that they're being conned. I think they know full well
I'm
what
talking
is
about the
going
voters.
on.
I'm talking about the voters.
No,
The
no.
voters,
I was
well,
gonna say some
that's a
voters are smart
combination.
enough to see through that, but think they'll benefit, and others are just too dumb. But
Yeah,
Unless
some
you're a
of them
millionaire,
don't
you
really
ain't
give a
making
shit
shit.
who's being hurt, and some of them are just
Yeah.
not smart enough to know what's
And
going
that's
on.
well,
why-
that goes along with my singular agenda, whatever that may be.
Well-
It's so
Right. We don't care that our
It's so
country's being sold off to Russia, and we don't care how many people are being illegally hurt or dying as
Well-
a result of these policies,
And
because it might benefit you with a few bucks in your taxes.
Russia's whole agenda.
although it probably won't.
Russia's whole agenda has been single-minded and clear from the beginning. Putin made deals with global oligarchs, very rich people, to get into power to begin with, and promised them he would make them even richer if they helped him get into and stay in power.
Well, to be fair,
And he's doing everything he can to fulfill those promises.
I honestly didn't see this conflict or whatever war, whatever we're calling it, lasting long, considering we're still
won't.
in 2 other countries.
It won't last long. No, as soon as the person who wants the oil gets the oil, it's done.
I mean, but the thing is that as long as it's dragged out, corporations are profiting off
Sure.
of these wars.
Yeah, you have
No matter
all-
how many lives it costs, no matter how much further in debt it puts our country, the corporations that are pulling the puppet strings on America, they're making shit tons of
Okay.
money off
right,
of these
the
wars.
weapons
And as
manufacturers.
far as I'm concerned, these
the-
wars will never end because of that.
Now, it may sound like conspiracy theory and leftist nonsense, but
It is not. It's
but,
true.
but the thing is that
we
back
can
in the day,
follow the money.
Right.
back
Follow
in
the money.
Back in the day, when we went to war, we developed new technologies. The entire economy, not just like the rich people and big businesses
Right.
profited. All of us, there was a rising tide that lifted all boats. Why have we not had profitable wars? We've had several. Can't seem to make a turn of profit anymore.
There's a reason.
Where's all that money going? It's like that pallet. Remember that whole
Well-
pallet of $100 bills that just vanished?
Right. But that's the thing. So now it is, Halliburton selling the food and the, weapons manufacturers selling the guns and the oil
There's a
companies.
reason that our military budget is so insanely outrageous and that we build these
Isn't it?
new.
It's an entire half of our tax dollars, isn't it?
It's a huge amount. Our military
It was like 58 at
our
one point.
military budget is ridiculous, and then how many times we heard about new ships being built and planes and technology and blah blah
Tanks.
blah blah that
We
sits
have an
in
army of
hangars
tanks in a desert.
why
that
just
doesn't
sitting
get
there.
used.
Why do we need all this? Think about this. Now we're
Because
willing.
Because
it's a
it makes-
job program.
We're willing to
It's
kill
because
the
it makes the
leaders
corporations
of
that
ISIS.
build these things money.
We're willing to kill the leaders of
It's
ISIS.
more than that.
However, we are never willing to go after the leaders of other countries who start these wars. You know what I'm saying? I mean, generally speaking, and I don't look. This is a conspiracy theory, and maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong here, but I don't think ISIS is in charge of themselves. I think behind ISIS is Russia. I think Putin is behind ISIS. It's too coincidental that they started within 6 months of Putin being elected. So, and they've literally everything
It's
ISIS has
possible,
done has
but-
It's
benefited.
a solid theory.
Everything ISIS has done has benefit Russia. So, I honestly think he's behind them, personally.
Yeah.
So,
Just to lay it out, this is old information, but not everyone's aware. When I was talking about the tanks in the desert, I was talking I think it's Nevada.
oh yeah. Well, because there's a contract that says we have to make so many a year, but we don't have a use for that many.
The military itself actually asked us to stop sending it to them.
Yeah.
So they park them in the desert for future use, and it never gets used. And every year we build more. It's a job fair program because I think in the 48 continental states, one part is made like in nearly every state. There's a plant,
Right.
and it's a job fair program that senators lobby for to have.
It is, by the way, worse than welfare. And
So
the
they
reason-
make a gear here, they make a tread here, they make a plating here, and then somebody assembles it all,
It would-
and then we park it.
It would literally be cheaper to pay these people to stay home.
I mean, it's like, what was it, the F-22 that we kept building and it kept failing and leaking and
Right.
not flying right.
That's the
and
thing. These military contracts, it's cheaper to actually pay the workers who make all this stuff to just stay home rather than to pay a corporation for shit we don't need.
Now I'm all for R&D and having the best
Okay,
equipment,
but if you went
when our
directly-
own military doesn't want it,
If you went directly to the worker and paid them to stay home, then you're taking out the whole reason that the budget is so high, and that is that it makes the corporation that builds these
Right.
things
yeah,
That's
everyone
what I'm
lines
saying.
their pocket
Tons
all the
of
way
In
money.
through.
the end, this
We
is
don't
about rich
care.
people pocketing
We
your tax
don't
dollars.
care that we're raising the
We'll get 'em
national
reelected.
debt with these wars and with all of this stuff. We don't care that the military budget is so outrageous that it has caused our country to be how far in debt is it at this point? The bottom line is
In debt to
that
who, though,
that
right?
right.
It's in debt
the,
to
the
the
bottom
rich
line
people
is
who are bilking the system.
exactly.
Well-
The bottom line is that money is lining the pockets of these corporations that profit off of our wars.
I've got an idea. Okay. This is old math,
Eat
and it
the
might have
rich.
changed, but to my knowledge, we are the largest military to the next 14 countries, 13 of which were allies. Okay?
Well,
What if we shrunk down to just being as large as the 5 of those countries and then just worked with people?
isn't it,
Diplomacy.
isn't it that we have the largest air force in the world,
We'd have to stop
and
stabbing
then the
people in
second
the
largest
back.
air force in the world is our own Navy?
Yeah, that does sound right.
I mean,
I think I have heard
we
that.
we have the largest military in the world compared to the next 3 countries combined.
And Space Force. Don't forget Space Force.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Jesus
Get to do
Christ.
some Buck
It just-
Rogers laser guns in space.
We don't.
I'm all aboard for that.
And the thing is that I think we are in an age where war would be
If we end up in
unnecessary.
space under this administration, there is no way it doesn't turn into Spaceballs.
We got to send him first. But look,
Sorry,
Am I surrounded
coordinates
by
went down.
assholes?
We can't get you home.
look, and I think that the age of war is damn close to at its end. We just have to acknowledge that who's responsible. We have to look at
We also have to acknowledge that we can exist without oil,
yeah. I mean, if we
and then actually take steps to.
But that's
do
what I was
that.
arguing. Okay, look, that's what I was asking. I asked Twitter, a week ago or so, what would we fight wars over if we stopped fighting for oil? And you know what they said? Overwhelmingly, clean water.
That's messed up.
Well, they say that when we get the resource wars are likely to happen at population 9 billion, and you keep talking about falling birth rates and whatever, but
Yeah, I think the population will level
they
out.
do believe between climate change and increased population, food is going to get scarce as water gets scarce, and there's going to be all kinds of change of weather patterns, and dry areas getting wet and wet areas getting dry, and just all kinds of problems that's going to cause mass migrations, border issues, and there's going to be conflict everywhere. So, I mean,
We could also,
That's very
curb
possible.
some of that by not throwing out the tons of food that we throw out every
There's-
day.
and then you think
There's an
about
asinine amount of solutions to this.
While we're
a
on
lot
oil,
about
also, do
technological
we want
stuff.
to discuss the fact that one of the Keystone pipelines leaked?
okay,
There's over 300 leaks a year.
which one is that coming out of Canada or something? Or
Yeah.
In North Dakota, do you remember all
It's- yeah,
those
it's going-
protests?
Yeah, they were rightful to be concerned.
383,000 gallons of oil leaked in North Dakota. So I just thought I'd throw
I
that
think
out
they
there.
should clean it all up and ship it to the owner of the Keystone XL pipeline. They should ship every last
was that the
paper
tar
towel
sands crap?
to
Yeah,
oh
that,
yeah,
that was
this
a
is
really
particularly
toxic sludge,
stuff.
yeah.
Right. And as I'm saying, we should every time we clean up an oil spill, we should dump it in the yard of the owner of the pipeline or the.
Well, look at what happened in the Gulf, and BP sued the shit out of them. Really hurt their bottom line. People actually stopped going to a lot of those gas stations. Many of them closed, not all of them. They're still doing business. They cost them probably billions, and still it's not all cleaned up. There's still
Still
ongoing
leaking.
lawsuits. There are entire industries of seafaring people and whatever getting crabs and different stuff. It's impacted everybody, and there'll never be enough money to fix the situation or return it to pristine
We need to
condition.
get period. We need to get off oil. Plain and simple. It's time to switch.
We really
have
do.
viable other options. Thank you, Elon Musk, and many other great innovators like him. Okay, but the fact is, we don't need this shit anymore. Okay, there are
No,
other
we
uses.
actively need to stop.
Look.
We need to do a full reverse on using oil and move on to clean resources.
Well, no
Right,
one's
I
really
agree.
talked about recently how much more efficient solar cells have gotten. From the last time we've looked at them to now, in like the last 12 years, I'm trying to remember what the number is. It's like half to 3/4 more efficient.
Batteries are getting better.
It's
the,
so
the
much better.
technology is being developed for that. Was it carbon ion battery?
Oh, the carbon batteries are the future.
Where the thing can be recharged for 1 million years or something like that. I mean,
And they're talking about. I've seen a lot of tech articles about
And the water
carbon
battery.
capacitors, which will work like batteries and have like an instant charge, like you plug it in, it's charged.
Yeah.
And it won't last as long as the battery, but it recharges just like that.
There was a water battery too that's supposed to last a ridiculous amount of time, and I don't know what all is involved in it, but they said it's like super safe for the environment.
I'm always curious about that because it always sounds like the water car or something like that. Like, is this real or is this just internet nonsense?
I don't know, but I mean, I trust Elon Musk when he says this
Oh, is
stuff
he looking into
because-
this?
No, well, he was the one looking into the carbon ion battery, I heard. So he was looking to fund it or
Yeah,
something.
it's amazing because, I mean, carbon's so common. It's just a matter of getting the lattice laid out correctly. Eventually, we're going to be 3D printing this crap.
I firmly believe that everything we need is right here, and we just need
It's
to
so cheap
think.
and easy,
We
though.
just need to think.
And it's so good at doing everything
Well,
we
and that's
want
the
it
other
to
problem
do.
is
Well,
that
we
we
also
have to
need to
realize
be
that
not blocked from trying to
Right.
move in this direction.
that's what I'm saying. Capitalism stops us from going this route so often because we find something that is a cheap, easy solution, and they're like, we can't have that. We've got all this oil.
Right, and
we've
that's
got
the
to sell
thing
you.
is that capitalism will actually block us from progress
Right.
because it's costing somebody money. Some oil
Correct.
tycoon
Well-
is going to lose a shit ton of money when solar becomes mainstream.
We all want to vilify the medical industry about not selling you the cure when they can sell you the treatment, but that's capitalism at work.
I
Absolutely.
severely disbelieve that ever happens. I
Uh,
know it sounds
I
horrifically
absolutely do
naive,
not.
but I
I
think
don't
that
think
I
your
think that we
doctor would
don't
do that
even.
necessarily.
I don't
okay?
even think the
Eh.
drug companies will because
I
if they
do.
could
No.
cure
They are not
AIDS,
No, 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 no,
doctors.
no. You're
they
not
would,
looking at
they
this
would
right.
get so
They're
much
businessmen.
fame. It'd be such
They
a
are
commercial.
not even
Not about that.
looking into a cure. They are looking for treatments.
That's true. Why? How would you
Well-
find the cure if you're not even looking for it? You know what I'm saying? And
Exactly.
they're
I
not
don't know.
looking
A
for
lot
it.
of stuff in science happens accidentally too, though.
If
But
we had I think if we had a serious plague like polio was or something like that, did somebody be hard?
Yeah,
at
because you
work?
can't profit off of dead people.
Right. You know. So yeah, when it threatens the bottom line, by all means, stop it. But
it does seem like either we're less good at it, even with all our great computers, and I don't want to join this conspiracy
than we
train,
used to be.
or viruses are getting really good at screwing us over.
It might be both. I think.
Well, they're evolving fast. Then.
But yeah, we can't trust.
What viruses are you referring to?
Well, I mean, just like polio, we set out to cure that in what was it, like 6 years or something? I mean, it was
Right.
it felt like overnight from what I remember.
Well,
in
it's
history.
possible that polio it had a linchpin that was easy to pull, but look, the fact of the matter is that they are profiting off of patents that were developed with government money, and they're making insane profits off of it. They're charging us hundreds of dollars of things for things that cost them, like insulin. You know, it costs like $6 to make a bottle
Oh,
of
that's
insulin,
got to stop.
and they're charging $500-600 for this
It's
stuff.
obscene and disgusting.
And
You're not
the
the only
truth of the matter
supplier.
is
You
that
can't really copyright
but the
it.
patent belongs to us. We developed it. The people own it.
Mm-hmm.
How the fuck are they making that kind of money off of it?
Yeah, it's like what was it? That EpiPen that got
It's
raised at
time-
$300
yeah,
some.
Same thing. We own it.
Was that Pharma
Okay,
Bro? Or
here it is. Here's my proposal. We make our own medicine manufacturer who produces all this stuff. They get all the research, all the money through us.
You mean government science for the pursuit of science and not for profit?
Yep. And it
Yeah,
sells
we
it
don't
at
do that anymore.
the
Let me
reasonable
tell you what
price.
would happen.
Get rich people would riot.
So not long ago, John Oliver did an episode on the National Weather Service, which was a government thing that has like basically the point of information where all weather channels and blah 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 get their information, and it's government,
Right.
right? The National Weather Service. These other profiting weather apps and companies and whatnot reporting are rallying against the National Weather Service because once it's gone, you can be charged for that life-saving information that tells you a tornado is about to rip through your city.
Right.
So if you do
By the
this,
way, I wouldn't pay for it.
you would have right, but I
mean, if it's cheap, I might because that's just scary.
No, I'm
right,
not
but
paying
the
for
fact that the National Weather Service exists means you don't have to. That information is there.
Yeah,
ready
no, that
available to
should
you.
be free. That's
However,
a public good.
If these for-profit weather services were to push the National Weather Service under, now you no longer have the option but to pay for your weather in order to not die.
I'll just not do it.
Sadly, chances is
So my
it'll be a
point
free
is-
app that'll just data mine you.
Well, obviously they're still in existence, and this isn't a concern right now. But my point is that it would be the same thing within the medical industry if you were to create a public, medical provider, supplier, whatever it is, you would just end up with all these for-profit people coming after you. It's the same
That's
thing.
my point, though, is we need to stop the billionaire class from fucking us.
Some things should not be
Look,
for-profit.
Like
And there is
prisons,
just no two ways about it.
education.
Some things should not be for profit. If it comes in between your right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, it should not be for profit.
Okay, if it's for the public good, there should obviously be an equatable, minimum quality, public variety that exists.
Yeah.
Schools, hospitals, all of that. Okay, and if you want to pay for a super duper version, fine.
Okay, look.
You want to go to Harvard? Great.
Sure, but Harvard
agree.
actually, I read a study, and it may or may not be skewed, neither here nor there. The fact of the matter is, I read that a Harvard education actually isn't any better than a standard education in a state school, like, say, Penn
It's prestige,
Penn
and it'll get you
State
the
or-
job.
It's not the prestige. Yes, the prestige is a little bit of it. The name, saying that I went to Harvard,
Yeah.
even if you're a jackass.
Mm,
Yeah, oh, you went to Harvard, you must be great. No, you're probably not any better than anybody else. But what you do get out of Harvard
Well, you're related to
is
better
the
people.
connections, people who can afford to go to Harvard.
My thing about Harvard is that if you made it there on your own, that's one thing. If you made it there and got your degree there
Because mommy and daddy are rich.
yeah, because of names
It's
or money,
meaningless.
then
Yes.
your degree means nothing.
Legacies.
Most of the people,
I'm not going to say that a president has ever made it into office on a bullshit degree with a third grade reading level, but I'm just saying it could happen, and therefore, what does your degree really mean?
Right.
Maybe twice.
I mean, say you went to Wharton and spoke like an idiot.
This is what I'm saying. Like, if the words that come out of your mouth in incoherent sentences would be something that I would literally ground my child to their bedroom with a book to read, like, I feel like you shouldn't be in a
Don't come
certain
back to sound
position.
better.
Yes, don't come back until you can put sentences
Why is
together.
it so many of these right-wing personalities like Trump and like Sarah Palin speak like they're drunk?
Well, I think she was trying to affect a folksiness. I mean,
No,
I don't
no.
think she's
Like,
smart,
no.
but I think she was trying to
No,
appeal
no,
to the masses. or
no.
something.
It was word salad. It didn't mean anything.
No, I was talking about the inflection and tone and
No,
all
I don't
that-
give a fuck
that
about that.
Minnesota
No,
sound.
I am talking
no, I don't
about the
give a
fact
crap
that when
if
they
you
assemble
have, like, an
sentences,
accent or talk like in a certain tone. My point is, can you assemble a sentence in a coherent manner?
that means something.
Right.
I shit you not. I read something she said. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at this and I'm like, this literally means nothing. These words don't go together.
That's how Trump is. He does the same
All the time.
thing. It's
And
like,
they're not
and
the
you're
only
like,
ones. There's
there
a
was
lot of them.
literally nothing said in this sentence. It was just a whole, and like you're almost insulted, but you don't know why because there was literally nothing in there that made any sense
Means
whatsoever.
nothing. And then everybody in the stands up and cheers.
right.
Did you understand that?
Nobody
Did you
understood it.
I-
There
I
was
can't-
no cohesiveness
because
there
Like, I
at
feel
all.
like
said-
there's
you
got to
said
be
a
an
word.
applause sign, right? There's got to be an applause sign at
There
a
is.
Trump rally.
There is.
And they hold up the applause sign. It's time to clap. I have no idea what he said.
It's
I'm just gonna sit here and clap. That was great. He's a
Right.
white supremacist
I'm
like me.
angry too.
That's what I'm saying. The words,
I'm angry and white.
they're dog whistle words that all he has to
Hand me
say
my
them.
tiki
He doesn't have
torch.
to say them in a sentence that makes any
Yeah,
sense.
I-
He just has to utter them, and they all
Potato.
go, he's on our side.
That's
Potato,
the thing. He throws in a keyword, and they know to start
Exactly.
potato can war nationalist. Yay! He's a nationalist.
Now, I don't remember who it was.
cheering.
John Oliver,
I had
one
egg
of those.
salad for lunch and bad hombres.
And, like it was one of those late night shows. But there's a game that I often see on Facebook, and it's where you go into your text function and you press the center button after saying like 3 words or something, and you just see what kind of word salad comes up. And they played this game, and it was like,
Oh yeah. I've done this stuff.
was this Trump
The
or
text
was it
Yeah.
text prediction?
Right.
You
Oh
can't
yeah.
tell.
Trump
You
protect-
legitimately
yeah, you can't tell. You can't tell.
cannot. But Sarah Palin was another one where there were several times where I almost tried to give her the benefit of the doubt, and it was I think before
I think she
Trump.
was an alcoholic
But
though.
the thing is that like I would see something and I was like, she did not say that, and I'd look it up and sure as shit she said that.
But that's the thing.
I'm just like, what
Look,
the
I have no
hell?
proof of this. I personally think she was an alcoholic, and I think that
I don't know. It
is-
ultimately it doesn't
okay,
matter.
No, but I mean, look, I'm college educated in the field of medicine. I've worked with alcoholics before, and they do talk like that after their brains have been rotten from so much drinking. Okay,
Yeah. It's almost like an encephalitis or something.
yeah. There's like it's literally like fucked up your brain so that you talk like this. Okay, where half of what you say doesn't actually make any sense. It happens. Okay, and she speaks exactly like they do.
Okay, well, I don't happen to think that Trump is an alcoholic.
No, I think
Well, he
that
claims
he
to
is
have
a
never
cokehead.
ever touched a drop. That he.
Bullshit.
No, I think it's Adderall and cocaine for him.
No, I think it's Adderall as well. But I think wouldn't cocaine make him skinny?
No, not necessarily. I've known some some pretty chunky cokeheads.
Regardless,
He must be really trying.
Back
But he
in the-
does like fast
back
food.
in
I don't know. I think
mean,
it's a combination of Adderall and dementia, because that man is not all there.
It may be dementia. I mean, yeah, because there's plenty of times where
I mean, he's there enough to mess everything up.
I've listened to and there's I'm just baffled by the cheering though after he says a bunch of shit and you're like, what?
don't you
I
think
know.
it's possible?
Like, there was no actual
it-
thought
Well,
or
it occurred to me maybe it's a
What are you
troglodyte
cheering
language
at?
or something like that, where him and his troglodyte followers understand it, but the rest of us don't because it's like idiot speak.
Well, here's
what
my
was that
theory.
movie? Idiocracy.
I think that he's been so rich, so influential, powerful, whatever the hell, for so long, basically having people kiss his ass for so long, that you ever have like a scattered thought in your head and you try to put in words and you're like, I don't know how to structure this. Now imagine if you were halfway through that sentence and people were just applauding you, and then you farted really loud and they applaud you even louder. Would you even bother to finish a thought? I mean, I think that's how he's living his life. I think he's just vomiting from his head without any filter.
I do think that is most of his followers.
I don't think
they're
he's
like
crazy. I think that
No, he's crazy.
his brain is not organized because it's never had to be.
No, he's crazy.
I think that most of his followers are just
Look-
are just full of hate and don't
Yeah,
care
they're
about
awful.
the things that are happening in his wake.
But yeah, people who are born rich often have they've never been in touch with reality. You know,
That's kinda
There's
what I'm
no
saying, yeah.
grounding there, so it's like you have no idea how the world actually works because you don't need to. You know,
I think part of that is how you're raised, and
No, experience matters. It really does. You could talk about the
Seriously.
nobility of the blue
You
collar.
can't-
I would trade that away in a second.
I
Blue
don't-
collar sucks. I
Look,
hate it. It's a hard life. It breaks your body.
I don't believe anybody born rich has what it takes to run this country. Period.
I'm not going to make that broad of a statement, but I will say this man
They've never been
is
us.
incapable of running a business, let alone a country.
They have never been us. If you've never
That's
been
what I'm
us,
saying.
You can't
Yeah,
run this
he
country.
can't relate to us.
You can guess if you have any degree of empathy. That's fine.
Right.
That's probably what you were trying to talk to. But you'll never understand because you can't live this life.
Right.
It'd be
That's
impossible.
what I'm saying. We
you
should
can have
only
money
have
in the
presidents
bank
who've
and
ever
still
been
live a
us.
humble life.
So, I'm just.
I don't
saying.
know. I'm not going to say across the board. Probably in most cases, you guys are correct.
All right. Did I mention Trump got booed at the World Series? I think everybody knows that by now.
I
but
didn't know
Man,
that.
you guys should have seen.
Yeah, he was throwing out the pitch.
Dude, the face. So he's smiling, looking around because he's
He
thinking.
threw a pitch. Did it make it across the?
I didn't even care.
I didn't hear anything about it, so it couldn't have been that bad.
Did he throw a pitch? Really? Did
that's
he
what
look
I
as
heard.
bad as he thought he'd look?
I didn't look at a video or anything. I just heard about
Yeah,
it.
look, the big thing was that he's smiling and looking around the stadium and everything like that, and then he realizes he's being booed, and his face slowly clinches down into this one of like depression and anger. Like it was just fantastic, and it's just like, and then all these people were like, "Oh, all those people who booed should be held responsible." I'm like, that's,
What?
That's fascist. Like
What country
this
do you
contributor
live
on
in?
Fox and stuff like that. Yeah, they should be held responsible.
To what?
So it's free speech if you're hating people,
Right,
but it's not free speech
if
if you
you're
speak
marching down the street with a torch claiming that we should kill Jews.
right, but not if you criticize the president. This
What
is
the
not
fuck is wrong with
a
these people?
monarchy.
What the
I mean, what would
ever-loving
the charge be?
fuck?
Disorderly conduct or something? I
Right.
mean, like, wait, what would
I
that
know.
even be?
But anybody who thinks that should go fuck themselves. Period.
You know what I miss? Self-awareness. It like used to be a thing, and it's clearly long gone.
Yeah, but he's been a reality TV
you
star.
people
Once again,
suck. I
people
just want to
bo-
say
I
that.
feel that
If you really think that people should be held accountable for booing the president, you suck.
Okay, but can you seriously name a single person who's ever been on reality TV who could also be claimed to be self-aware?
no.
I happen to think that reality TV started the downfall of this country.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, no, the downfall started way before that,
Does
but
it ever
it
occur
didn't
to you that it
help.
was a conspiracy theory to get Trump elected?
Oh, good lord.
Uh,
I think
So-
that it's why any intelligent alien life will never
so
come
how
to
do we
visit
make
this
America
planet.
dumber? Reality TV.
It's
That'll
insane.
get Trump
Yes.
elected in 30 years. So
And
okay,
it worked.
Nobody
so-
could have foresaw this.
All right.
Nobody.
More news. Trump is committing felony bribery by contributing to senatorial campaigns.
Let me pretend to be shocked.
So,
Now, I'm
Now-
actually surprised there is a law against this. There should be, but there is.
I mean, I think
There's
we're-
laws against most of the things that he's done in
Nothing will
office,
ever happen.
and
He'll never
nobody
be-
gives a fuck. Apparently,
he'll never be held responsible. That's,
mean, I
that's
give a
what's
fuck.
It's
going
just
on.
one of those things that you never think to do. because you're not supposed to do that crap.
Right.
Because
well, that's the thing. Yeah. Some of
you're
the
not
stuff-
a piece of shit as a person,
Laws
so
were
you just
never-
automatically assume you shouldn't contribute.
It just sounds like a thing that you'd go, I think there's a law against that.
Well,
I won't do that.
And there might be like a guideline against it or something, but then we just don't enforce anything. So it's Trump, man. I mean, and that's not even the worst of it.
These
Okay,
people have
let
no
me-
morals. Like his whole administration wouldn't know a moral if it got smacked upside their head.
So this was one. It's related on the idea of that he's never going to be held responsible for anything.
Mm-hmm.
So the Washington Examiner says that Senate Republicans plan to acknowledge quid pro quo with no corruption intent, being that Trump is too stupid to understand that what he was doing was wrong.
No. I'm getting real tired of this.
Well, the thing
He's crazy, but he's not stupid.
if you or I broke the law, even if we
Ignorance
said
has not
we didn't
ever
know-
been an excuse.
Right.
No,
Nobody else gets away with it.
That's a quote. I don't know what judge or who said it, but that's
Ignorance
been passed.
of the law
like-
is not an excuse
Yeah,
for
Right.
breaking it. It is not. It has never been. It will not be for any of
I
us.
didn't know I wasn't allowed to
ever.
just take your shit. Like,
No.
there have been mentally disabled people who have been electrocuted in Texas. Okay,
right. Well, that's Texas. They just like killing people.
I'm pretty sure
Fair
they
enough.
voted in Trump. So, but my point is, if it's not excuse on a capital offense, it sure shit can't be in a. I mean, come on.
So, and then on top of that, Bill Barr goes to UK, and basically he's trying to dig up dirt to discredit the Mueller report, right? And the UK, like, says back, they're just baffled by how the Trump administration is trying to torpedo their own intelligence agencies. Like, they're like, this is literally unprecedented.
Because they may turn on him.
They're literally, this is literally unprecedented, and we've never seen anything like this in the history of the world.
I have.
Our government,
I have.
like the way they're behaving.
V for
Torpedoing your own intelligence agencies?
V from Vendettas that starts up this way. Okay, this is how you build your own government.
Well, let's remember that how B for Vendetta ends, and the people retake everything.
Yeah, all you need is a super virus to make a mutant guy with super intelligence and strong motives.
Well, we can get it done before we get to that point. So there's enough of us to take this shit back. So elections are coming up. Everybody run. Run as Republicans. Run as Democrats and Republicans to load the ballot.
I mean, why not?
Remember,
Trump used to be a
remember.
Democrat. Does anybody remember
Said
that?
remember.
Yeah, run as both parties, guys. I mean, seriously, convince people you're Republican, get into office, and then do the right
It's
thing.
not
once you're
unheard
there.
of. Dinos and rhinos. These are things.
Yep.
These are terms that exist.
Dude, I mean, I live in a red state now, so
Oh,
I've
God.
I've been thinking about running as a Republican just so I can actually get elected.
I will vote for you.
Yeah. Sadly, apparently you could be a child molester and still get elected.
Dude, I mean,
Yeah, literally, they don't give
all
a shit
people
about
care
who
about
you
is there's an
are.
R next to your name in red states. They don't even know what you did. They don't know who you are. They don't give a fuck.
They voted for some dead dude.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's assuming that they're just blindly going, oh, R.
Wait,
no,
whoa.
this guy
Yes,
was in
that's
the
what they're
news.
doing.
This guy was out in the news for months and still carried a lot of votes.
No, I don't think they care. I think it's literally there's an
No.
R next to his name. Regardless of whatever he does, it doesn't matter.
But that's my point.
He's
You're
not a
talking
Democrat.
about blindly, like,
Didn't
oh, I
they
don't know who these
elect
people
in
are.
the same
But they
election?
knew.
A dead guy was elected in one
Yes.
state, and then a
A
pimp.
Dead pimp. No, dead pimp.
Oh, it was a
So
dead
one
pimp.
guy.
I thought it was
Really?
two different people.
Yeah. This is what Reno. So the guy owned brothels.
Oh, well, a legal pimp then.
and he was a enormous piece of shit as a human being goes.
Okay.
Like not even mincing words here. He was just a legit piece of shit.
I was just picturing a guy with ermine and a cane. That
and
little-
and then he died before the election, and they voted for him anyways. So yeah, that's who they are. And yes, you're right. Pedophiles. Another Republican resigned recently for being caught with child porn. And it's
I
common
mean, we
too.
know Jim Jordan was involved in that whole college
Yeah,
thing,
covering
right?
for the college doctor who was
Molesting
molesting
children.
kids and stuff. So yeah,
Was this the
that's
gymnastic
that's
thing, or-
Ohio. Guys, be sure to get rid of Jim Jordan, the biggest piece of shit in.
I'm not sure
in
I'm up on
Congress
this
right
news item.
So it's old
Oh, really?
news. Yes.
This
I
is
don't know.
old
I
stuff.
can't keep track anymore.
Yeah,
It's-
he looks greasy. He looks like an AIDS patient that got out, and
ugh.
Don't knock AIDS patients.
so
I
no,
mean,
like he looks like he's dying of like HIV or something like that, and he just puts on a suit and goes in. He refuses to wear a jacket. Like everybody else around him's wearing their their suit jacket. Not Jim.
I don't give a
Jim's
shit
out there
about
with
how he
his sleeves
dresses.
rolled up, looking
I care
like
about
he's got
the fact
HIV.
that he's a piece of crap.
And he's a piece of shit. Yes,
I don't care how he looks.
he's a disgusting human being. Well, I think it's the evil coming through the skin, is what it is.
He's
yeah.
like emaciated, like a demon.
Right.
Do you want to?
So.
Do I want to what?
Oh yeah. The article on
You had something you were feisty about.
on the
No.
immigration thing. Not
Yeah.
quite what you guys are thinking when I say immigration. There's a little different, but
Yeah, this
No less
was
scummy.
an issue where the U.S. State Department is discriminating against LGBTQ families by not granting their children citizenship. So there's been a couple of cases, like in circumstances of surrogacy, where a recognized legally U.S. married LGBTQ couple have maybe had a surrogate where the babies were born abroad, or one of the married couple is, a citizen of another country. There's a couple different examples, and in these cases, the fact that there is a citizen for a parent and a legal marriage is enough for in straight couples where the baby is a citizen,
Yeah,
right?
I didn't even know this was a thing. I mean, usually I thought surrogacy was done just locally.
No, surrogacy can be done
you do
wherever.
whatever you want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it never
Because when
occurred
you're
to me.
straight, your baby automatically is your child
I
and
can't-
therefore a citizen
regardless
because
if it's genetically
they
related to both
recognize
parents.
they recognize your marriage. But the U.S. State Department is trying to not recognize these same-sex couples' marriage, and
even though that's
therefore
federally legal now.
Well,
right,
look, we
and
gotta-
therefore these parents have to sue the State Department to make their children citizens.
I think we got to think about a few things when assessing the topic of surrogacy. One is how difficult it must be to find a surrogate, especially when
yeah.
you have particularities about health conditions of the surrogate.
Well,
For instance, a lot of people looking for surrogates, of course, there's no smoking. They don't want anybody who smokes.
There's
Sure.
a lot of
They don't-
circumstances. A lot of
Drugs.
times you have a family friend who is willing to do it for you, and of course, or family that's willing to do it for you, and of course, you're going to want those people that you trust and care about in those circumstances. And I think that all of these
Right,
examples
but
that I
those
read
can-
about, these children are biologically belonging to one of the parents.
Yeah, of
in
course.
these couples. So, I mean, but even in cases of adoption, in most cases, when you're on the birth certificate, that is good enough for citizenship.
Right.
These
Yeah,
parents
they're
are both
specifically-
on the birth certificates. If they were hetero couples, that would be enough.
I'm
But the
just pointing-
fact is that the State Department is discriminating
I'm just pointing out
illegally.
that some people would be willing to go halfway around the world to find a
Oh, I
suitable
believe it.
surrogate.
Absolutely.
I mean,
so
Oh, I'm sorry. Go
I'm
ahead.
just saying that why this would be a surprise to anybody.
It's
But
not,
That's
and
what
it's
I'm
not.
saying. It's not.
It's not something that's unheard of for hetero couples, like I'm saying, and it's never been a problem for them. But now the State Department is feeling empowered enough to discriminate against LGBTQ couples.
The question is, are there a bunch of terrible people in the State Department?
Clearly,
or
there
are
are.
they afraid of our asshole in chief? And they're just like being terrible.
No,
people?
I think that the asshole in chief has given free reign to all government agencies
So
ICE and
to
what have ya.
discriminate
wonder how
and
many-
undermine
yeah.
things. So the one couple had actually already been ruled that their children were legally American citizens,
Right.
and the State Department is suing them to have that ruling overturned.
Yeah, that's insane to me. To
They're
tack on to
wasting our
Loki's
money,
point,
and I want my money back.
as an American, most of my education, of course, comes from TV. Movies, documentaries, news, whatever. Things I consume. And I remember hearing that in various stances that they would screen these people, but these people would also be screening them, these surrogates. And they would, at any point, though they sign a contract, they can back out and be like, no, I love this kid, this is mine now.
Right.
And so you are actually usually paying them a wage, because not all of them are even able to sustain themselves, let alone a kid. So you want to
Right.
make sure that they have proper diet, and they got to go see a doctor, which they may or may not have insurance for. So the surrogate family may be out a huge financial burden.
Yes,
now, in
enormous
this case,
at
I think it was
times.
England, so they probably have free health care for the most part.
No, there's a couple different circumstances
But-
here, but that's not really the factor. The thing is that a U.S. district judge had already ruled against the State Department on a similar case. So the precedent is there.
Right.
That these children are in fact U.S. citizens, because their ruling concluded that it doesn't require that both people in the marriage demonstrate biological relationship it doesn't they don't have to be biologically related to both parents if the parents are married. But the State
But
Department
even so, it's related to one.
Isn't there a way?
it is, but the State Department is not recognizing their marriage. In every circumstance, they're using policies that are used for unwed couple or
Now,
unwed parties.
I think there should be a way for the judge to hold the State Department in contempt and jail the person responsible for holding this
I'm
up.
pretty sure they can, if they chose to.
That's what should happen. And the same thing and the same thing should be happening in Congress right now when these people are refusing to testify, when they're defying these orders. It's like our judicial system has no power when it comes to our own government, but it has all this power when it comes to fucking the rest of us.
right.
You know? Do your fucking job and hold these people accountable.
Right, and basically
Well,
what
when
they're
you hold the
trying
powerful,
to do,
you put yourself in jeopardy.
like,
That's
and
the
here's
thing.
the thing, is that one of these couples
Gotta
had
happen.
already won their initial court case and gotten passports for both of their children
Right.
because they had a set of twins. And the State Department only wanted to recognize one of those twins as a U.S. citizen
Well,
and
that's
not
weird.
the other one because
The-
I think it was the two fathers with two different nationalities, so they accepted one child and not the other. And so they already won their case, and they're trying to appeal to take away the citizenship of one of the babies in this set of twins.
Why would you create all this bad press and tear
Here's
apart
why.
a family?
Because
I mean,
everything they're
it
trying
sounds
to do,
malicious. It's like
It is malicious.
it is malicious. It is absolutely malicious. It is
this
100.
doesn't sound like blind application of the law. This sounds
It is
just
not.
targeted.
It is 100% targeted discrimination. And on top of that, what they're trying to do is undermine the fact that same-sex marriage is now legal.
Right.
Same-sex marriage is now legal, but it doesn't come with the same benefits of a hetero marriage.
But we already
They're
knew
making
that.
sure that it does not equal the same rights. They're making sure that these people do not have the same rights as straight people.
We already knew that, and that's why we know that the fight is not over until this is
The
100%.
fight isn't even close to over.
Until this isn't even an issue.
This
Until
was
there's
one tiny
nothing
step.
in court about this. Until everybody is just recognized and left alone. It occurs to me that conservatives, and I had issues in my personal life that lead me to this. They have a problem minding their own fucking business. They have a problem just living their life and leaving everybody else alone. They want to dictate how the rest of us live. They want to get their fingers in every little fucking thing and tell us that we got to live their way, that their narrow view of reality is the only view of reality. And somebody along the way didn't teach them to mind their own fucking business and leave the rest of us alone.
Well, we should not be in the business of legislating morality, for one.
I agree.
Not that in any way, shape, or form this is immoral, I'm sure in their view, but I mean, it's
No, but they are pushing their religious bullshit
Which is
on
nonsense.
everybody else. And that is the thing is that the Trump administration won't do anything to fix this, despite the fact that it's clear discrimination.
Look, if
Despite the fact that it's clearly going against the idea that same-sex couples should have the same rights in marriage as a hetero couple.
Well, and then if we're going to be fighting over this stuff, if this is going to be if these religious issues are going to be in court and stuff like that, churches need to start paying taxes because we are spending tax dollars
first of all,
arguing this.
Any kind of religious anything doesn't belong in government, and I will fight
Period.
till my last
that's what I'm
breath
saying.
There
to
should be
keep
a
it the fuck
firm
out.
wall of separation.
What country do
your
you think
religion
you are in?
should inform your personal morality, not the legislation that you base off of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
You live your life by however means you want,
But here's the
that should not affect me.
The thing is that the law is already on these people's side. Marriage is supposed to be an equal right whether you're a hetero couple or a homosexual couple. That should not be a factor.
No,
It is not supposed to be a factor.
Well,
And the
Roe
fact
v.
is-
Wade was settled, and we're still battling this shit now.
And the fact is that there is already a ruling that states that both parents within a marriage do not have to be biologically related to the child in order for it to be considered a citizen. The rulings and the precedents are already there.
Now, look, if they
And we're just ignoring them because they don't want to recognize the fact that these are married couples.
if they said in the ahead of time that regardless of the composition of your marriage, that going overseas for a surrogate would not make that child a citizen, fine. If that was a blind rule that we had, it sucked,
But it's not
it
the
makes
case
sense.
for hetero
Right.
couples.
And that's where they're tipping their hat to what the agenda is.
Right, it's blatant discrimination. If they hold one set of laws for a hetero couple and not the same set of laws for a same-sex couple, there is no equality. You are blatantly discriminating.
Yeah.
It's clear cut. It is obvious as hell, and they're allowing it to happen. The U.S. State Department is literally breaking the law, and they are going outside of the precedents that have already set.
They are actively breaking the law, and they should be held in contempt.
This is straight up discrimination. There is no two ways to look at it.
That's the thing. We need to purge the conservatives from power completely. They need to be removed. The most conservative thing in office needs to be Nancy Pelosi.
Well, I think we need to address that term, because
yes, they're not really conservative.
Right. I mean, because the fact is that
we haven't had a conservative in decades.
A conservative is supposed to try and keep things at an even keel, at a status quo, and a liberal is supposed to always expand the boundaries. We go back and forth,
but
forth,
there's nothing conservative
as a society,
about the current Republican
and between
Party.
the two of them, we get the society we want, ideally. That's what's supposed to happen.
I get it.
But what we got now doesn't resemble anything that adheres to that philosophy. Going backwards is not conservatism.
Well, the Republican Party has literally become con artists and
radicalized
religious
terrorists.
psychopaths. Yes. I fully believe that the evangelical church
it's like a third party
is
that ate the second
a
party.
terrorist organization. So, and I'm absolutely sick of what it's doing to our country.
And that's the thing that drives me nuts, because I mean, when you look at the news, anytime that there's a dissenting opinion, well, we have to give them equal time, because they have an opposite opinion, therefore it's equal.
So I can just express any opinion.
You could flat Earth is equal to every scientist at
Right.
NASA, of course, because
What?
he has an opposite opinion. So it has to be the other side of the
No,
issue.
but
When
that's
your
how they're
opinion
treating
can be
things.
misproven by science, you're just an idiot.
Yeah, my point is,
Right.
republicanism is the flat Earth of politics.
Today's republicanism is, yes, absolutely.
We should not humor those kinds of things. I'm sorry, but no,
Yeah, we
you're
should
just
treat
an
them like
idiot.
the children they are.
Yeah. No, I agree. Time to sit in the corner. Time for us to go. Have a good night.